What is up, everybody? It's been a while since I've actually shot a video over in Langrisser, and I wanted to pop in here real quick and let everybody know that I am still over here going hardcore. Your boy is grinding in the Barrens over here. I stay on Langrisser all the time. I play this game all day, despite how much content I've been coming out for this game recently. I'll be honest with you guys, a lot of it had to do with me not being able to remember my Facebook login. So it took me a while to actually move this game over to my new device. But it's here now, so here I am. I figured I would go over just a few of the things that I've been doing over here. Alright, first of all, we look at my characters. Bernie got a pretty big update. If we look at his equipment, he did get the Overlords Armor. I cannot stress how big of a difference this piece of armor makes for a Bernie. This one's pretty gnarly. Pretty much what this thing does is it gives his talent an extra block span. That is a huge difference. That is the difference between Bernie getting assassinated by Zarita or Zarita, taking the debuff from Bernie and maybe not being able to kill him off. And I'm just using Zarita as an example here. Bernie was prone to assassin attacks, assassins just taking him out, because they could feasibly get just close enough to him to not be within range of his awesome break, and they could attack him at full strength. So for the Overlord's Armor, it was honestly, for me, it was kind of a coin toss at first because I did have the Bloodborne magic armor on him, which gives him a chance to have 30% damage reduction, but that is only in close quarters combat, right? This is an ability on this armor that is, you're always going to get the +1 to your hero talent span. So all in all, I would suggest getting this armor for anybody that is actually rocking Bernie, wants to do a serious build with him. And a lot of people don't rock Bernie anymore. He's one of the older characters. Does he have? No, he does not have his 3C yet. We are still waiting for that. So that's the big update pretty much with Bernie, is I just got his armor, but he has been awesome. We'll run him at the end of this because another unit that I've been working on is Sakura. Here is my deadly little Sakura. She did just go down in power quite a bit. This Sakura was ranked top 10 on my server, and I happen to know that she has the highest attack on my server, hands down. Her power did just go down because of this Fury of Tear Helm. As you can see, this thing has 4% attack, a flat 6 attack, and it's got some hit points. This Fury of Tear Helm, it used to have, I believe it was like 14% hit points on it and 2% attack. So we lost a lot of hit points. We lost a lot of hit points just to get an extra 3% attack. But you know, for Sakura, she's one of those characters where she only needs enough hit points to survive an AoE or something like that. Because this one's running around with 1100 attack base. It's like 80 or 1105 or something silly like that. Once she actually gets cranked up and she gets some of those stacks on her, this Sakura runs around with 2200 attack. She has a monster skill stat. So pretty much with 2200 attack, and with the Goddess Blessing, I've seen Sakura get up to 2400 attack. That was also with less percent attack on her helm. Like, I'm going off of her old build. This one should have a higher attack. But when Sakura has an attack that high and she has a skill that's so high, up in the 600-700s, her hit point pool, I mean, it's still important. You need to be able to survive some AoE attacks. But when you actually square up with people, because Sakura attacks first, she's going to kill off whatever you're fighting before they even get a chance to scratch her. So that's why I was okay with sacrificing so many hit points, just to get her attack a little bit higher. And I'm still going to try to re-roll this. I would like to get, 4 or 5% attack on the helm. And I'd still like to get 10% hit points. That would really make me happy. Something like that. So that's pretty much where my Sakura's at. And we will run these two together. I think there's like a gold map that I can run real quick just to kind of showcase what they look like. I've worked on Night of Mystery. She is pretty gnarly. We're gonna come back to her in another vid, but she's been helping out definitely. Her and Altamuller have just been running back to back and just crushing it. But we haven't really covered most of the new heroes. Ironrod. I can never pronounce this girl's name, but she is such a sweet character. Mine is at 5-star. She's at just a little over 7,000 power. And mine's different than everybody else's. I can tell you that right now. I'm working on a different build for her. I don't really want to run her or showcase her until I get her 3C because it really ties into her build. But pretty much for this girl, I went for a damage reduction build. I went for a steel rune set, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that did that. So we're gonna have to see how that pans out, how that works out for me. All in all, actually, I think it's gonna work out pretty well. So, and I will be the only one with that rune set on this character. We have Reen over here. I've been messing around with this guy a little bit. He's not even all capped out on the gear. He is very straightforward though, so he's kind of somebody I put on the back burner because we know what he's going to do. We know how he's going to do it. I'm pretty much rocking the same rune set that everybody else is, so once I get done with the generic build, then maybe I see if I can change something around about it and make it different. Wyler. I made a video a while ago talking about how I was going to be working on Wyler just because he's just so nar. I think the last Langrisser vid I did actually showcases Wyler in an arena team, throwing his talent out there and just keeping that fight going forever. I've actually seen a very nasty Reen and Wyler combo, right? Because Wyler's talent will let Reen heal before combat starts, and Reen will automatically heal after combat is over because of his own abilities. So you just get some ridiculous healing, and a Reen that's really high power and has that kind of healing, he's also going to be throwing just gnarly AoEs, and he can take out your whole party. I believe that's pretty much how the fight went, is I destroyed their whole party, and it ended up being just, a 7,000 power Reen with Wyler's buff on him, and I thought I was going to eat this guy alive for a turn or two, and then I realized I can't kill him, and he's going to keep throwing AoEs, and I did actually lose that match. I went back and I refought that match, and my Sakura squared up with Reen, and she took him right out, but I mean, I did score a loss there because somebody got the bright idea to partner Reen up with Wyler. It is a pretty nasty combo. You guys will be seeing a lot of that out there in Arena. Let's see, the Toguro Bros got their 3C. I've rebuilt this character to be just nothing but attack. We're going to have to see how he does. His stats are still not that balanced. I haven't gotten good rolls on him. And I still do need to work on getting his 3C, but Toguro Bros are back in the game. They are some serious nar with that 3C ability of theirs, so expect some stuff to come on them, alright? But all in all, what I've really been working on, Helena, the bustiest Leon there ever was or will be. I'll be honest with you guys, if they make characters any more busting out than this, I don't even think they're going to be able to perform. Like, look at this girl. Look at this poor girl. She just, man, she's busting out of that armor. It's got to be so uncomfortable. So Helena is absolutely awesome. She just has this amazing, what is this thing called? It's a Petastorm. This is pretty much just an AoE that she throws out after taking action. which means that if she's using Chivalry, she can cast Chivalry. That's the end of an action. She'll do AoE damage with Petastorm. Then she can move up and attack somebody, and then that's the end of another turn. So then she gets to use Petastorm again, right? And depending on what you equip her with, the Bloodsword Hunting can be pretty good at applying a ton of fixed damage. Now this thing doesn't have the biggest range, so the other sword that I was kind of messing around with, here it is, the Balance Blade. This is going to actually double her range with that AoE ability of hers, but she's not going to get the fixed damage from like the Bloodsword Hunting, and I do enjoy that fixed damage. So I just kind of been running around with either one of these weapons depending on what I'm trying to do. This girl's just getting statted up. She's at 6,500 and she's at 3 stars, so I'm trying to star her up. Pretty easy character to build though. The Vampire Mask works very well on her, as it does with anybody that has Chivalry. I put the Arcane Battle Grab on her just to, add some more damage when she attacks somebody. She gets to add some fixed damage. Honestly, when the Arcane Battle Garb first dropped, because it was scaling off a magic defense, I just kind of blew it away like it was no big deal. But actually, it is some pretty tight armor, I do have to say, because it lets you get something offensive off of, your armor slot. Like this is adding to your, in a way it's adding to your attack damage because it's adding fixed damage at the end of your attack. A lot of times, that fixed damage will be just enough to finish somebody off. So actually, now that I've actually, applied some of these Arcane Battle Garbs, I want more of them, and that's just me. So I shouldn't have recycled so many of them. So we have Helena. Another thing that she does is she actually changes the terrain that she runs on. We can look at that real quick. For every 1 block move, damage increase. That's great. That's what Leon does. That's what everybody does. And when there's no friendly units within 2 blocks, her defense is increased by a flat 10% value. That's very nice to have, whether you move or not. But after taking action, all blocks you pass through this turn gain the Crystal Radiance effect for 1 round. When enemy player heroes move into this block, after taking action, they have a 50% chance to be affected with a random equipment skill nullification effect. Let me repeat that. Equipment skill nullification effect. This girl is stripping skills right off of your equipment. Okay, those are like some of the equipment skills are like some of the best damn things you can get. Like, here's a skill: when no friendly units are within 2 blocks, attack and defense increase by 10%. Well, she could strip this off of somebody. So somebody with a Lone Star Amulet would not get their attack and defense increased by 10%. They might not get their chill ability off of their Arcane Battle Garb. I hate saying that. A lot of these, most SSR equipment has an awesome skill attached to it. So this girl can actually nullify that. She is like the first character that can actually strip abilities off of your actual equipment. Forget about, passive abilities and silencing skills. She's taking shit right off of your equipment. That's pretty gnarly. That can be devastating to a character's kit. Like, if you have a character built for one sole purpose and everything's working in unity for one outcome, she can throw a wrench in those gears so quick by taking one of the skills, abilities off of your equipment, and she can really jack up a character. So it's very nifty. Obviously, if you're not playing against other players and there's no equipment to strip, what does it do? It gives mobs. Let's see. It gives mobs just like a really bad break. Okay. When the target is a non-player hero, which is just every monster running around in PvE, the effect changes, reducing a random stat by 25%. Last 1 turn. That's a pretty gnarly break right there. So this whole Crystal Knight thing that she's got going on, It's pretty badass. This girl does have a super high attack, and she's running around spamming that AoE. So this is one of the cool things that Langrisser has managed to do. They're coming out with new functions for their heroes. Like the new heroes that we've been getting, they affect the map, right? You got this girl, Nomi? Gnome? Yeah, Nomi. Let's see, she's a magic Tailor. She gives everybody a cool buff. After taking action the first time when this hero dies, apply magic garments to all friendly units. When unit hit point is below 80%, the next instance of damage you take is reduced by 20%. So this girl's going around giving people damage reduction. 20% of it at a time too, and mine's only at 3-star. So for some heroes that already have their damage reduction already at like 40-50%, now you're at like 70-80%. That's a huge difference. That can just be so annoying to deal with. Let's see, and I'm fairly certain. Yeah, that's right. This girl has like Pillar of Flames. When she does some of these attacks, she actually like marks part of the map. She changes the terrain, and now if an enemy stands on it, they're getting burnt or they're taking damage. So this is something new that they've been implementing. Let's see, where's the other girl? What is her name? She can't be this far down. I know I worked on her a little bit. Here she is. Rosalia. She's pretty nifty herself. This girl throws down Excalibur. She throws a sword into the ground, okay? And you just get awesome buffs off of that. Let's see. When entering battle with hit points above 50%, attack and defense increased by 5%. That's great. That's pretty much, it's kind of like the damage boost that most cavalry heroes get. You know, Leon has something along those lines. He doesn't have a hit point thing going on there to limit him. But attack and defense increased by 5%. Like, that's okay. Okay, but before entering battle or taking action, when there are enemies within a 2-ring range, obtain Faith. Damage dealt is increased by 2%, and damage taken is reduced by 2%. It can be stacked up to 3 times. This is her talent. All of this scales up, of course. Alright, but here's what this girl does. Sword of Protection. You know, active skill, apply Sword of Protection. The target terrain, increase all stats excluding hit points of all friendly units on this terrain affected by command within a 1-block range by 10%. So she's helping everybody's stats. It's a command, so this is going to increase all of your stats by a certain percentage except for your hit points, or that would just be OP. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot to it, right? Sword of Protection command range is increased to 2 blocks. At 3 stacks of Faith, Sword of Protection grants command on additional effect. When initiating battle, heals for 20% of damage dealt after battle ends. So there's a whole lot that this sword can do. She just throws it down on the ground. And the cool thing is you can throw the sword down on a block where the enemy's already standing. It's pretty gnarly. It changes how the game is played. It changes how these units are used. After you use this skill, you can move an extra 3 blocks and attack again. So, in a way, this is kind of like Chivalry, where you get to move up, you activate this, and then you get to move 3 more blocks and attack. But this is like Chivalry with AoE buffs to your team and like a command buff. So, this really does change how the game is played with characters like this. We also have, there was something important here. I remember this girl can also, she can wear a mixture of armor, which I thought was kind of cool. You don't see many cavalry units wearing a tenuous headdress. That's why I threw it on this girl, just to, you know, I don't even know why the Demon Slayer's on her. I think I just put whatever I had on her. I mean, this thing's got a whopping 11% attack, but it's got that 21 int. So, all in all, just kind of been running around with her, but it's really cool for these characters to actually change the terrain, give the terrain some sort of bonus, give it some sort of difference, set up some sort of trap for your enemy to step over so they can take a bunch of fire damage. So all in all, Langrisser has just been progressing really, really good. The game has been changing the way that it's being played. You got new characters being added with custom, unique abilities. Oh, and guess what? Guess what? Leon is still in the damn meta. Okay, Leon is still... He's still a monster. Leon's still being used all over the place. This is just a great example of how, if one of these games are done right, they don't really have to power creep. Right? I mean, Leon's been out for like 2 years, or however long this game has been running now. He is still a top tier choice. Okay, I see people in the chat pulling Leon now and working on him, even though they have some of these newer characters. So, that is definitely some props I gotta give to Langrisser. Like, keeping your old units alive, adding special gear to them so they can keep up with some of these new units. Leon's still got it going on. I see him get used all the time. So, that is why I keep playing this game. So let's actually do something. Let's pull Bernie out here. Let's pull Bernie out here. And you know, I think this is going to be good. Ultimately, you can just kind of hang back. Yeah, I'll run this with 4. So, this is actually probably my first time actually looking at Bernie's stats since I've actually upgraded him. Estelle is definitely one of my favorites too. This buff that she gives everybody, Enduring Hope, is absolutely amazing. We'll go over my Estelle build in another vid. But she does have Breeze. She is pretty gnarly. She's definitely one of my faves. So we'll get Bernie's buff up, and we'll actually start looking at their stats. So Bernie, right now, he's gonna be at 1080 attack, and his defense is 963. Magic defense is 517, 121 skill. All in all, not too bad. It doesn't seem like a lot, but if you look over here, everybody's getting affected by his break, even if they're 3 blocks away. You know, attack and defense minus 15%. That is enough to really cripple somebody. Can Sakura reach this fool? Oh no, she can't. Oh, she can. Okay. So here's Sakura's 3C. Absolutely love this thing. I believe it gives you 1 or 2 stacks instantly. We're just going to use Joshua for his faction buff. I do enjoy running Sakura with Joshua, just because she does so much more with her AoE. When her attack actually stacks up, these are some of the most lethal AoEs in the game, because you're throwing them at like 2200 attack with a super high skill, so they're gonna crit. Look at Bernie. Bernie will just shrug everything off. He's awesome. I just like moving him up here so everybody's affected. Well, most people are. He can take this mage out. Just enough attack. That's all you need with Bernie, is just enough attack. I see a lot of people really just trying to go for all attack with Bernie. I don't think it works as well. I really think that Bernie needs a super high defense if you're going to use him as a tank, because really the way I play him is just an awesome debuffer, because anybody that comes around Bernie, they're going to get hurt just from that debuff. Here, we can throw that. So I think Bernie can decide the outcome of a match just by hanging around and applying that dreadful 15% debuff that stacks with everything. So that is the way that I've been playing Bernie. It works out very well for me. I do get a lot of compliments on this Bernie. Actually, I get a lot of compliments on Estelle too. She's definitely one of my faves, just because she affects movement. Movement's a big deal. There we go. Yeah, movement is a big deal, especially with units like Sakura. That's why we run 1, 2, 3. Oh, I can reach both of them. But that's really what drew me to Estelle, is that awesome buff, increasing everybody's movement. You can't go wrong there. And then on top of that, giving them, you know, a bonus to their attack, their damage that they're doing. I've always liked Estelle. I just think she's an awesome character, and she's stayed in the party. I've always worked on Estelle. The girl's never let me down. So yeah, that's pretty much what your boy's been doing. After this, we will quickly look at some rankings. I'm pretty sure my Sakura does have the highest attack on this server. She's got 3 stacks and she's at 1800 attack. That is, of course, without the Goddess's Blessing or anything like that. Obviously, she can get her attack much higher than that, because you can obviously go up to 4 stacks. Sakura will technically hold 5 stacks on her. She can hold 4 stacks, and then when she goes into combat, she gets another stack just for that instance of combat. And then when that's over, she goes back down to just having 4 stacks. That's the best way to explain it. Because after you get Sakura with all 4 of her stacks, and you go into combat, her attack will still increase 1 more time. It's just that you cannot keep that last stack. You cannot stack 5 times, because that would just be ridiculous. So this is what I'm kind of messing with right now. I don't know if I should keep Sakura like this or just go roll me some hit points for her. And this is kind of what I've been working on. My Sakura went down to rank 17. I know she was like top 10. But if we look at any of these Sakuras, and these are all good Sakuras, right? This one's got 979 attack. Mine's at 1100. Mine's at 1100. Here's another 6, 7, 8, 9, 89, 990. Here's 1089. That one's close. Omega Warrior, you're close. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1069. Okay. Number 4 is Kazuchi. Very good job. Honestly, I think, you know, a Sakura's attack is very important. 1023. That's why I really push for that 1100 mark. But her skill is just as important, because you want her to attack first. 247 plus 87, that's pretty much, or 250 and 83. So Sakura's going to be running around with like 350 to 400 skill. The higher you can get her skill, the better, because when you go up against another Sakura, you want yours to have a higher skill so she can attack first. My Sakura absolutely must have a high skill because she has such a high attack, and I need to apply that attack before anybody gets to attack me. You know, if my Sakura is attacking with 2400 attack, as long as she goes first, you're only going to be able to retaliate with whatever you have left. Whatever you have left after a 2400 attack hit with like 600, 700 skill to make it a critical and to crank the damage out. After you take that hit, then you get to retaliate against my Sakura. So chances are all of your troops are dead by that point. You're just attacking with your hero who's on his last leg. And I think my Sakura, she still has enough hit points to take that hit. Mine's ranked lower because all of these have like 7,400 hit points. Mine was right up there with them, but now she is at 6,400. So yeah, I did lose over 1,000 hit points on this Sakura just to crank her attack up a little bit higher. This one she still had one of the highest attacks on this server. It's just that with the configuration like this, with the tier helm actually giving the 4% and the 6 flat value, and this is still giving 123. That's not bad. 123 flat value HP. It's not bad. You know, it's a few percent to the hit points, but it's nothing like the 12 or 13% hit point that I had on this item. I really wish I could have the best of both worlds, but your boy had to choose. I am not done rolling on this Sakura yet, but the way that I see it, her having 6,500 hit points, that's enough for her to take an AoE and survive. Then she just needs to get into combat and start stacking up. And then she can just throw AoEs that completely blow everybody away. A lot of times Sakura will finish people with her AoEs, especially if you have Joshua there to increase her AoE damage. And that is really how I run this girl. So, yeah, this is pretty much all that I've been doing here in Langrisser. Just concentrating on my favorite heroes. Here's Estelle. I don't know if I want to rebuild this character. I do like her synergy. She is running Breeze, and all in all, she can keep up with everybody pretty well, but she can add movement. That is what I love about Estelle. She, of course, also has a tier helm. I would really like this 14% magic defense to be 14% hit points, you know. So I do have to work on my Fury of tier helms. I got probably 5 of them now. And I feel like it's one of those items that is so powerful that you better have a good damn roll on it. Like, look at these Apex boots, right? We got 9% attack and a flat 11 attack, 42 hit points. I don't know if you guys could tell, but this took a lot of scrolls, right? When you're talking about items like the Apex boots, like the Fury of Tier, these items are a big deal, and they deserve to have some of your best enhancements on them. Speaking of enhancements, the reason I didn't make a video on some of this new equipment that's come out, like the Insidious Pendant, which actually, it is a best in slot for Sakura. Here's the one that I actually tested on my Sakura. It's got 15% crit and it's got 7% attack. So if I was going into Apex Arena with my Sakura and I was going to fight another Sakura, I would put this on, because this increases your crit. It increases your crit, so Sakura is going to have just a way better chance of attacking first, especially when you're fighting another Sakura or somebody with a high crit. But all in all, if I'm not going to be going into close quarters combat against another Sakura, I would rather keep the Apex boots on her, because then she can move 4 blocks or 5 with Estelle's buff, and she can throw those nasty AoEs. So my personal opinion is that Sakura is better off with the Apex boots if she's going to be doing an AoE build, which is pretty much what mine does, and then she just picks people off close quarters combat. But if you're actually going to build Sakura for our close quarters build, for, you know, her skills that actually do single target damage, I would quickly tell you to try to get this accessory for her, because it's going to make her much stronger single target wise. So that is one of the items that we got. The Scepter of Divinity. Yeah, this was one of them too. This was definitely an item that we got. I've actually put this thing on Rennie, because Rennie can be very gnarly if she has a 3-block attack range. Of course, you're not going to get a 3-block attack range if you're standing in cover, so that's something to keep in mind. But I got a pretty good roll on this, 13% intelligence and a flat 18 intelligence. When there's no terrain or defensive bonus using range skills to initiate battle, unit range is increased by 1. It says unit range, not hero, which means that your whole unit gets to effectively attack 1 more block, which is why I put this on Rennie. She's rocking sorceresses, so now those sorceresses have a 2-block attack, well, a 3-block range instead of a 2-block range, as long as she's not standing in terrain and getting a defensive bonus. And really, this has kind of been nifty a few times when I've been fighting the Ice Dragon. You know how he freezes people, so you can't square up against him. Well, as long as Rennie has this, she can get, 3 blocks away from him, and she can still tag him with her deadly single target skills and abilities. So this is why I've been running the Scepter of Divinity on Rennie. I just kind of been testing it out. I think I do have a better weapon for her, but it's not going to increase her range. But all in all, this has just kind of been hanging on to her because I got such a good roll on it, and I'm like, why not? You know, I could still have all the stats, all the damage, and once in a while, she's going to be able to attack somebody from 3 blocks away. All in all, very nifty. I would suggest this for Arena if you're going to be using Rennie. She's much harder to keep up with when she has a higher range, and she can be a very awesome tank buster. Oh, that's right. Who do we have here? I forget this dude's name. Omega. How could I forget Omega's name? Yeah, Omega, this Insidious Pendant. This is one of the best in slot items for Omega because he is a single target assassin. He's going to be trying to take people out, and he can attack the hero directly. So the Insidious Pendant, giving him so much more crit, is going to give him a much better chance of taking the enemy out in one shot. So this is definitely a best in slot item for Omega. It's a close to best in slot item for Sakura, depending on what you're doing. And what's the other guy's name? Oh, come on, Vlad. Let's see, the other dude, who are we talking about? Kirikaze. Yes, Kirikaze. This is the best in slot for Kirikaze because he's all about crit. He uses his crit to heal himself and to do a ton of damage. So that's another character that the Insidious Pendant is best in slot for. Everybody has Kirikaze, so if you do pull one of these and you don't know who to throw it on, maybe you don't have Omega, maybe you don't have a Sakura, throw it on Kirikaze. It's going to do him a whole lot of good. The Frostfire Crown. This is what was next. As you can tell, I've gotten a lot of these. I didn't actually pull these off the banner. These have just been dropping left and right off the dragon runs. I can't even help it. I was even thinking about melting some of them down. The fact is, though, it's going to give you some magic defense. When initiating battle, damage taken is reduced by 2%. This is why I haven't melted a bunch of these down. This is giving you damage reduction. And I've been messing around with a lot of different damage reduction builds. So that's why there's so many of these just kind of piled up. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with them. I'm not going to ore them, but I'm trying to figure out how many of these I want to keep and feasibly run. How many of them I want to combine together. So all in all, anything that's damage reduction, I will take that because it can be very useful. You get 10% here, 10% there. It doesn't sound like that much, but when you stack all your damage reduction up together and you're rocking like 60-70% damage reduction, your opponent doesn't know that. They're just going to look at your character and say, well, he's got 600 defense and I got 1400 attack. I should be able to take this character out. What they don't realize is your character has 60-70% damage reduction, and they're not going to be able to take that character out. That effectively can cost somebody a match, right? Because a lot of times in order to attack somebody, you have to make yourself vulnerable. So if you can have a character that can trick your opponent into